Hi everyone, this video is about how to cite online sources using Fordham Undergraduate Law Review's Modified Blue Book Citation Guide. In general, this citation form is used when citing web pages and when citing newspapers or magazine articles that originated online. In general, it's also best to cite materials as online sources if you're unsure of how to cite them, because it provides all of the information necessary for a reader to find the material after your note is published. The citation form for online sources begins with the author's name. So the author's first name and then the last name. If there's two authors, you can use the and symbol. And if there's three or more authors, you include the first author's first and last name, and then the abbreviation ETAL period. And this indicates that there is more authors than stated in the citation. And then we use a comma, an italicized title. The third component is the publisher. The fourth component is the year/date of publication. If the website provides a date of publication, use the date. And if it only provides a year, that's fine as well. And parenthesis, comma, and then the URL not underlined. So if there's no author provided, you can start the citation with the title. And the publisher, according to the Blue Book Citation Guide, the publisher is supposed to be in a small caps font that just basically capitalizes the other letters in the word. But since small caps is not available on Google Docs, you can leave normal capitalization in your footnotes, and the editorial board will fix it when we receive the notes for the final stages of editing. And then the URL is not underlined, and it also should stay in the black font color rather than a blue font color. If the URL is extremely long, you can just use the root URL instead of the full URL. So we're going to go into two examples. The first one is a Time magazine article. So we're citing the Time magazine article as an online source rather than a magazine periodical, because we can tell that this article originated online rather than in a print version of Time magazine. We know that it originated online because we don't see page numbers. If there's no page numbers, that generally means that it originated online and you can cite it as an online source. We can usually gather most of the information from the top of the article, and we know that the publisher is Time. So we have the title here, and then we have the author and the date of publication, usually at the top, sometimes at the bottom of the article. So then all we need to do is copy and paste the URL, and then we can input the information into a footnote in our note. So the author's name, I'm just going to type it at the bottom. After we type the author's name, we follow it by a comma. And then I'm going to type the name of the article in italics. The title is followed by a comma, and then we include the publisher, which is Time. And then in parentheses, we can include the date of publication, which is November 21st, 2019. And parenthesis, comma, and then we want to paste the URL and end in a period. So sometimes if you click a space, it goes into the blue underline. We can just remove that and change the text to black, and then our citation is good. For another example, we're going to look at another web page. Again, we can tell that this originated online because there's no page numbers, and we're looking at a web page here. So we can scroll through and usually find the information at the top. So we get the author's name and the title. We know the perspective is the publisher. And then it's always good to scroll around and see if you can find a date of publication. And it doesn't look like we have any at the bottom, so we're going to use the year listed at the top, updated in 2019. So I'm going to copy and paste the URL and then type the information into our next footnote. So we have the author's name in italics, the title, and in a comma, the perspective was our publisher. And again, that should be in the small caps font, but we're going to leave that and it will be edited later on. And then we know that the year of publication was 2019, and then we have a comma and the URL. And then we just have to remove the blue and the underline. And there we go. So we have two online source citations here. And now I'm just lastly going to be going over the shortened form of each of the citations. So there are two types of shortened forms. The first one is called supra. So supra is used when the full citation has been previously stated, but the immediately preceding footnote is not the same material you are looking to cite. So let's say down here in footnote number 5, we wanted to cite this Tom Mueller article. We wouldn't be able to just use the extremely shortened form ID because the immediately preceding citation is not the same material that we're looking to cite. So ID is used when the previous footnote is the same material as the material you want to cite in the footnote you're working on. So for a supra citation, we use the author's last name, a comma, supra, and then we refer back to the footnote number and then end in a period. So if we're trying to refer to this Mueller piece, we would use the author's last name, italicize the word supra, and then note 3 and end in a period. And the reason we write note 3 is we're telling the reader to look back to the full citation. So when you're writing this note number out, you want to refer back to the note number that the full citation appears at. And then if we wanted to cite this same material again, we can just use ID. And ID basically tells the reader, look up to the immediately preceding citation, and that's the citation I'm citing that same material. So again, we use supra when the full citation has been previously stated, but it's not the one right above. And then we use ID when we're citing the same material as the above citation. So that concludes the lesson of the online source citations. If you have any questions, please reach out to the Fordham Undergraduate Law Review editorial board, and good luck with your citations.